All praise, honor, and the glory go to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace and safety to the hopefully elect, all the sincere brothers and sisters out there scattered to the four corners that believe in the Heavenly Father through His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. With that said, man, this is a quick hit dealing with Ephesians chapter 3 and verse 6. And in this video, I'm going to debunk that doctrine that's taught by the enemies of Hamashiach. And this guy, I am the seer, these false apostles, man, teaching lies in the Lord's name, man. All right. So I'm gonna show you that you guys are completely confused when it comes to this Gentile. Who are these Gentiles that the Apostle Paul was speaking of? All right. As we know, when you read the history dealing with prophecy, that the 9 tribes, the northern kingdom, who was prophesied as being afar off, all right, disconnected from the commonwealth of Israel, was prophesied to come back into the fold according to many precepts. Jeremiah, dealing with the new covenant. The prophet Ezekiel, dealing with the two sticks, the northern and southern kingdom being one in the Lord's hand. But you got these Christian lights, man. That's what you call them, Christian lights, because their doctrine is basically a different Christianity, man. All right, Christianity, man. All right, which goes back to Catholicism. All right, that's what it is. All right, Jesuit doctrine, man. Doctrine of devils, basically. So basically, they teaching that these Gentiles in Ezekiel chapter 3 is referring to natural heathens, which they would call them spiritual Israelites, but there's no spiritual Israelites in the scriptures, man. All right, you have to be from the lineage, from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, in order to be an Israelite. And secondly, you have to be righteous, one that follow the Lamb under his new contract, under the new covenant. All right, that's the qualifications. All right, so this is Ephesians, the book of Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 6, dealing with the Gentiles. And I'm going to show you without a shadow of a doubt that these Gentiles is referring to the other 9 tribes that these guys refuse to even speak of. All right, they fighting for the heathens, for these heathen. All right, and don't even speak of the other 9 tribes as if they don't even exist. All right, which the prophecy, which is a commandment that the Lord commanded those who follow him under the new contract to stand on the foundation of the prophets. All right, the apostles, and what Yahweh Shai say. So this is Ephesians 3 and 6. It says, and the Gentiles should be fellow heirs. Now, according to the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 37, it explains who the fellow heirs is, man. The northern and southern kingdom. All right, let's get that real quick, man, and show you who these Gentiles is referring to. Show you that it's not referring to heathens, man, as these guys teach, man. So this is the prophet Ezekiel, and let's read verse. This is Ezekiel chapter 37. Let's read and show you who's the fellow heirs that's referred to in Ephesians, what the Apostle Paul was speaking of, man. All right, so this is Ezekiel 37 and 19. It says, say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, the northern kingdom, which consists of 9 tribes, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him and with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in thy hand. All right, so let's go back to that Ephesians. Let's go back to Ephesians chapter 3. And let's read verse 6. So it says that the Gentiles should be fellow heirs. All right. That the northern kingdom shall be fellow heirs with their brothers, the southern kingdom, Judah. All right. The two sticks. All right. The two sticks being one in the Lord's hand. So that's your fellow heirs right there. That's your Gentiles. And it says, and of the same body, That's the one stick. The two sticks coming together being one stick in the Lord's hand. It says, and partakers of his promise in Yahushua by the gospel. All right, so now let's deal with that word promise. Okay, because according to you guys, Paul is teaching, is contradicting itself. So when you read Romans 9 dealing with the promise, let's see who the apostle Paul himself say this promise pertains to. All right. These guys will tell you it's referring to natural heathens, man. Natural Gentiles. All right. So this is Romans 9. Let's see, dealing with the promise. Let's see who the apostle Paul said the promise pertains to. All right. So this is Romans 9:3. It says, for I could wish that myself was accursed from Christ for my brethren, my fellow Israelites, the other 9 tribes, Ephraim. It says, my kinsmen, all right, my kinsmen, not natural Gentiles, not spiritual Israelites, okay, not heathens becoming Israelites, all right. He's referring this to his brother, his kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, whom pertaineth. All right, now we're gonna deal with that promise, who the promise is for. Let's see who it pertains to, who that promise pertains to. Let's see if it pertains to heathens or to the Israelites. It said, who are Israelites, who pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of God, and the promises, and the promises, and the promises. So when you read Ephesians chapter 3, so now when you read Ephesians chapter 3 and verse 6, dealing with those Gentiles, based on the precepts I just read, all right, based on the history, all right, based on the prophecies, all right, it's referring to the Israelites. It's pertaining to the Israelites. That's who those Gentiles is referring to here. So this is Ephesians 3:6 again, that the Gentiles should be fellow heirs. There's no precept supporting heathens being fellow heirs with the Israelites, man. Those Gentiles are referred to Ephraim, man, the northern kingdom of Israel, the ones in the book of Hebrews who the Lord made the new covenant with, man. Okay? Not no heathens, man. All right? So it says that the Gentiles shall be fellow heirs and and of the same body, one stick. Ezekiel prophesied about Ephraim and Judah, the 12 tribes coming together, being one stick, meaning one body, and partakers of his promise in Yahushua by the gospel. All right, and partakers of his promise in Yahushua by the gospel. So Paul is not contradicting himself. Paul is clearly referring to the Israelites, as we read in Romans 9, man. Okay, who that promise pertains to, according to Paul himself, the Israelites, man, not heathens, man. So that's the logical explanation of who these Gentiles are here in Ephesians chapter 3, man. All right, that's a Jesuit doctrine. All right, that's Christianity, man. That's not the truth. All right, that's not the foundation that was laid by the prophets, the apostles, and Yahushua himself. It only pertains. This promise only pertains, all right, to the Israelites, according to the apostle Paul himself according to what's written, man. So basically, that's the point I want to show you, because you got these guys trying to push that narrative that these Gentiles in Ezekiel chapter 3 is referring to heathens, okay, uh, and not the 9 tribes. All right, so basically, that's the point I want to bring out. Hope you brothers was edified, and with that, shalom.